Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going to be looking at Network 18 Media and Investments Limited and their Q3 results for fiscal year 2024-2025.
Lots to unpack there.
Yeah, you've sent over some really interesting stuff, financial statements,
Mhm.
auditor reports, and a pretty detailed investor update.
Yeah, it's a bit of a puzzle, isn't it?
Yeah,
Especially with their recent restructuring.
right.
Hopefully by the end of this, you'll not only know the numbers, but what they really mean for Network 18's place in the media world.
Okay, great. So Network 18 basically just operates under this one umbrella of media operations, which
Mhm.
seems pretty broad.
It is. It is very broad.
Yeah.
We're talking 20 TV channels in 16 languages.
Yeah.
So that's a huge audience.
Right.
Plus, they've got a strong digital game, which, as you know, is key these days.
Okay, so let's get into the standalone financials then.
Okay.
For the quarter ending December 31st, 2024,
Mhm.
they brought in 476.41 crore in revenue.
Yeah. Slight bump from last year, not bad,
Yeah,
given how the media landscape is right now.
but then their profit before exceptional items and tax was actually a loss of 66.27 crore.
True, but there's a massive elephant in the room.
Yeah.
A 3,498.21 crore gain.
Whoa. Okay,
Mm.
where did that come from?
Yeah, that's what we call an exceptional item.
That's like finding a winning lottery ticket tucked into their balance sheet.
Pretty much. It's all tied to the restructuring of their subsidiary Viacom 18.
Okay.
So they merged with Star India, and the ownership structure changed.
Right.
That's where that giant gain comes from.
Okay, so then when you look at the consolidated results then,
Yes.
including subsidiaries and joint ventures,
Things look different.
what does that look like?
Definitely consolidated. They posted a loss of 1,425.73 crore.
Okay.
And that's mostly because some subsidiaries were taken off the books during restructuring.
Okay.
So they sold off some parts of the business.
So it looks like the total value on paper is lower, even if the core business is doing okay.
Exactly. You've got to look beyond the surface level.
Right.
Now, are you ready for the really interesting part?
Hit me with it.
Money Control,
Okay.
their financial news platform. They just crossed 1 million paid subscribers.
Whoa.
It's one of the top 15 largest digital news subscription platforms globally.
Wow.
Yeah, and you've probably noticed the rise of subscription models in news,
For sure.
and this shows how much people value in-depth financial information, even if it means paying for it.
1 million subscribers. That's huge. So they're not just about the news anymore, are they? They're stepping into fintech too.
Right. They're becoming a lending service provider.
Wow.
Imagine reading financial news and being able to compare loan options right there on the platform.
That's pretty smart.
Yeah, it's a really smart move.
So while Money Control is killing it digitally then, how's the traditional TV news business holding up?
Well, the advertising scene hasn't been great.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Consumer demand didn't bounce back during the festive season like everyone hoped.
Right.
That's usually prime time for advertising.
And the investor update mentioned an 11% year-over-year decline in advertising volume for TV news?
Yeah, it's a tough spot.
Ouch.
Fewer people watching traditional TV and less ad revenue coming in.
Yeah, makes sense.
But here's the thing. Network 18 is showing some resilience.
Okay.
Remember, their network viewership actually improved this quarter.
Yeah. So they're getting a bigger piece of a smaller pie.
Exactly. And their big channels,
Yeah.
like News 18 India, CNBC TV 18, and CNN News 18, are all staying strong in their categories.
Okay.
So their consistent performance
Yeah.
shows they've found a formula that works, even with so much competition.
Now, before we get too deep into the TV side,
Sure.
I do want to touch on the auditor's review.
Okay.
They did a quick check and nothing seemed fishy with the numbers, right?
Yeah, and that's important for you.
Yeah.
It means an independent expert looked things over and didn't raise any red flags.
Right.
They did rely on other auditors for some subsidiaries, which is normal for a company this size.
All right, so we've covered the roller coaster of the financials and this whole restructuring saga.
Yep.
Money Control is shining bright.
It is.
But the TV business is facing some serious challenges.
Yeah.
I'm hooked. What's next?
Next, we'll explore those TV challenges more deeply. And then we'll dive into Network 18's strategy for bridging the gap between traditional TV and the digital world. Stay tuned.
So we've seen Money Control's digital success, but what about this elephant in the room, these challenges facing traditional TV news? It seems like the media landscape is changing faster than ever.
It is, you're right. Consumer habits are changing, and the advertising dollars are following them.
Yeah, and this shift is really hitting the news industry hard, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. The investor update paints a clear picture. Consumer demand didn't pick up during the festive season like everyone hoped. That's usually prime time for advertising.
Right. Plus, they pointed out that advertising for TV news dropped by 11% compared to last year. That's gotta hurt.
Yeah, that's a big hit.
Ouch.
Traditional TV viewership is going down, and younger audiences are turning to digital platforms for their news.
But it's not just about viewers changing their habits, right? The economy plays a role too.
You're absolutely right. The investor update mentions that brands are hesitant to spend on advertising because of market uncertainty.
Mm.
When people aren't confident, businesses tighten their belts and advertising budgets are often the first to get cut.
So it's a double whammy for TV news. Fewer viewers and less ad revenue.
That's the reality.
Mm.
But Network 18 is showing resilience. Remember, their network viewership share actually improved this quarter.
Yeah, so they're getting a bigger piece of a smaller pie.
Exactly. And they're holding on to those top spots. News 18 India is still #1 in Hindi news with a 13.8% viewership share.
And CNBC TV 18 and CNN News 18 are leading the pack in business and English news, respectively.
Right. Their consistent performance shows they've found a formula that works even with so much competition.
It's like they're living in two worlds, traditional TV and digital. How do they manage that transition?
It's a balancing act. They need to stay strong in traditional TV where they have a huge reach. But they also have to go all in on digital to attract the next generation of news consumers.
And that's where Money Control's success comes in. They've proven they can build a loyal audience online.
Right, and they're proving people will pay for quality financial news and analysis.
Plus, they're moving to fintech with those lending services is a pretty savvy way to diversify their income.
It is. They're using their existing audience and reputation to offer valuable services that complement their core content. And the investor update says loan disbursements through Money Control are way up.
So where does this leave us with the future of media consumption? It seems like traditional and digital platforms are both here to stay.
I think we're seeing the media landscape fragment. The days of everyone watching the same news on TV are fading. But that doesn't mean TV is dead. It just needs to find its place in this new world.
So for companies like Network 18, success is about bridging that gap between old and new.
Exactly. It's about offering a variety of content and services across different platforms to meet the changing demands of the audience.
Kind of like being a chef who can cook a gourmet meal A&D, whip up a quick tasty snack depending on what people want.
I like that analogy. Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about another part of Network 18's digital strategy, their regional news platforms.
Right. The investor update mentioned news18.com and First Post. Those are crucial for reaching people beyond the English-speaking audience.
Exactly. News18.com is a big player in non-English digital news.
And they've been doing some interesting things to improve the user experience. They redesigned their website with a mobile-first approach, which is essential in India.
Right. They're also personalizing content and using recommendations so people can find the news they're most interested in.
And their coverage of state elections and international events helps them connect with specific audiences.
They're going deep, too, not just wide. News18.com is available in 11 Indian languages. That's serious commitment to reaching different linguistic communities.
It's a smart strategy for capturing that huge regional market.
And it's working. Their News 18 app has over 1 million monthly active users, mostly from organic growth. That means the content is resonating.
So we've talked about Money Control, news18.com, and regional platforms. Where does First Post fit in?
First Post is their platform for international news, but with an Indian perspective. Think global issues, but with insights that matter to Indian readers.
The investor update highlighted their coverage of the U.S. elections as a big win for their YouTube channel.
That's a smart play, catering to the Indian diaspora and people interested in global affairs. Almost 30% of their website traffic comes from outside India.
Wow, that's impressive. They've really positioned themselves as a trusted source for international news with that Indian lens.
And they're doing well on YouTube, which is becoming a primary news source for many, especially younger people.
Their YouTube channel has over 6.5 million subscribers, according to the investor update. That's no small feat.
It shows they know how to create content that people want to watch. They've been making improvements to the site and their editorial approach to keep people engaged.
So it seems like Network 18 is taking a multi-pronged approach to digital. They're specializing, expanding regionally, and not putting all their eggs in one basket.
Exactly. They're hedging their bets, experimenting, and constantly adapting to this ever-changing media landscape.
It's like they're explorers charting unknown territory. You have to be flexible, resourceful, and willing to change course as needed.
That's a great way to put it. In the final part of our deep dive, we'll step back and try to make sense of all this. What does it mean for Network 18's future? What are the key takeaways for you, the listener? Stay tuned.
Welcome back to the deep dive.
We made it.
We're in the final part now of our deep dive into Network 18's Q3 FY25 results.
It's been quite a journey, hasn't it? We've gone through their
It
financials,
has.
explored mergers,
Right.
and seen Money Control's incredible digital growth.
Yeah, we've also tackled those challenges facing traditional TV news and talked about, how people are actually consuming media these days.
It's a whole new world.
It is so.
So what does it all mean? What are the big takeaways here?
Well, I'm struck by how Network 18 seems to be adapting and innovating despite all the disruption in the industry.
Right, they're not stuck in the past.
Yeah.
They're embracing the digital future while still holding on to their strength in traditional media.
Yeah, it's like they're walking a tightrope between these two worlds and somehow managing to stay balanced.
Yeah, they're doing a pretty good job of it.
Yeah, and they're not putting all their eggs in one basket. They're diversifying,
Right.
investing in both traditional and digital, and reaching a wide range of audiences.
Smart move.
It is. They seem to really get what consumers want today. I mean, Money Control's success with subscriptions shows that people are willing to pay,
Yeah.
for quality specialized content that adds value to their lives.
That's the key.
value.
Exactly. And then their move into fintech is a great example of how they're using, their brand and audience to create these new revenue streams
Right.
and a more well-rounded user experience.
Yeah, I mean, it makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Are they a media company? Are they a tech company?
Right.
What are they?
It feels like they're really shaping the future of media in India, not just following trends.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
They're not just reacting. They're proactive. But it's not all smooth sailing, though, right?
Well, no.
I mean, the traditional TV news business is really struggling.
Yeah.
And the advertising market can be unpredictable.
Unpredictable is putting it lightly.
Yeah.
But, they're showing resilience even with those challenges.
Yeah, they
I
are.
mean, they're maintaining viewership and staying on top in key areas.
And their focus on regional expansion
Yes.
through platforms like news18.com
Right.
and their regional TV channels is another smart move.
Huge market there.
Yeah, it lets them reach that massive non-English speaking market that a lot of, national media companies just kind of overlook.
Yeah, they think everyone speaks English and watches,
Right.
CNN International or something.
Exactly.
It's a much more diverse media landscape than that.
So putting all this together then, what's the bigger picture here? What does this tell us about the future of media overall?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
I think it's safe to say the future of media is hybrid. It's a blend of traditional and digital,
Yeah.
each playing its part.
So it's not about choosing one or the other anymore.
No, it's about finding the right mix
Right.
to meet the needs of a very diverse audience.
And to thrive in this new world, then media companies need to be adaptable, innovative, and really use data to their advantage.
Data is king.
Yeah.
If you don't know what your audience wants, how can you give it to them?
Right.
You need to understand them, personalize what you offer,
Right.
and constantly evolve to stay ahead of the game.
Almost like being a chameleon blending into this ever-changing environment.
I love that. I'm going to steal that.
Go for it.
Okay, so we've reached the end of our deep dive into Network 18 and their Q3 results.
We have.
I hope this is giving you a better understanding, not just of their numbers, but what they really mean for the media landscape. And for you, the listener out there, think about this. We've seen Money Control thrive, while traditional TV news faces an uphill battle. What does this tell us about how we'll be consuming news and information in the future? Are we seeing a major shift, or is it just about adapting old models to new platforms? The answer is probably somewhere in between. But thinking about these things, exploring different viewpoints, and questioning what we think we know, that's what the deep dive is all about. Thanks for joining us.
See you next time.